I really don't know, Joey, to be honest. Um, but the topic today is killing zombies. So a little bit of my background. I've been here for about 7 months. Um, Last month I had my biggest month probably. Today it was like 87,000. But it really should be a little higher. Hopefully they fix all the numbers. And this month already for week one, I'm at 59,000 for December. So you guys want to take in as much as sauce as I give you guys today. But getting real quick here into the intro, I like to keep my intro very basic. I don't want to hold up too much of their time. So I just like to catch them off guard. So I just hit them with like, "Hey, Josh." Um, I get them to say something, and then I go into the script like, "Hey, Josh, this is Eric. I'm just giving you a quick call from the Benefits for Veterans Office. How you doing today, sir?" Um, Most people, when they're new, they don't wait on a response and they just start breezing through the script and then like pretend like the other person's not even on the call. You always got to wait for them to give you a response because if you're just talking to them too fast, they're not, first of all, they're not even going to understand what you're saying and they're just going to hang up on you. Um, it's pretty simple. It's pretty basic. You get the client's attention, then you tell them your name, and then you tell them you're calling from the Benefits for Veterans Office. Um, and I simply tell them this call is just in regards to that request for the final expense and life options for veterans. Now, I do have your date of birth listed here as, so and so 2003, correct? Perfect. Now, was your main concern, like most veterans, just wanting to make sure the funeral expense didn't fall a burden on any of your loved ones? And then I wait like a second or so, and then I hit him with, or were you also just looking to leave some extra money behind if possible as well? Um, that's pretty much my intro right there, and that's how I hook him. Now, that is obviously like for actual veterans, but if it's like for like the wife of a veteran or like a widow of a veteran, I do take it a little different. Obviously, if I know it's a widow of a veteran, I already have that info there on my end. So I'll just be like, "Hey, Miss Mary, this is Eric. I was just giving you a quick call from the Benefits for Veterans Office. How are you doing today?" Perfect, and whatever they say. Then I hit them with the, you did send in a request for the final expense and life options for veterans and their families. And then I do have your date of birth or your age or whatever you have here as, 78. Is that correct? Perfect. Now, Miss Mary, was your main concern like, most veteran families or, veteran widows just trying to take advantage of those discounted rates to cover those funeral expenses? Or were you just looking to leave something extra behind to the family? The reason I say that to widows, because if you don't say that and then you guys can try or whatever, most of the times they don't even know like there's a discount for widows if you want to say that. They just think it's going to be more expensive, so that's why I like to like make sure I emphasize that to them that yeah, this is discounted not just for your husband and for you as a widow. And then that's pretty much my intro for veterans and widows. But obviously once you get into like the main objections that everyone's going to get, I already have my funeral coverage in place. And then I just hit them with, "Perfect, sir. Did you get that recently or was that a while back?" Recently. Perfect. And then, was that to the funeral home or like, a life insurance policy? And whatever, because I don't like to say that, they already have, you're just looking to add some extra money behind. I don't like, it feels like I'm just trying to sell them more. So I'm just trying to break down what they have and then move along from there. Um, and then if they tell you they already have coverage in place, whatever, you just, like, "Perfect, sir. That actually makes my job a whole lot easier." And then you just go back to the, did you get that to the VA or the private sector? And then, okay, private sector, perfect. And then, how much are you currently covered for? 15,000. Okay, perfect. Gotcha. And then if you don't mind me asking here, how much are they charging you each month? Um, the reason I say how much are they charging you is because it sounds a lot better than, how much does it cost each month or how much are you paying each month? Because when you say how much are they charging you, it makes it seem like, you're on their side. Um, Obviously, they have coverage. One thing I will say, for me at least, like if they already have coverage, I personally don't move on with the conversation until I break down exactly how much coverage they have and how much they're paying for. Because later on, if you don't like break that down and then you start giving them prices, like they're just gonna go crazy, like, "No, it's too expensive," or whatever it is. So you want to break down their coverage, spend their coverage, and then move forward with the call. Um, but other than that, like if you're like getting the objection that you're the 10th person to call me, just simply hit him with like just like smooth and calm. I mean, yeah, I completely understand that, sir. But from what it looks like here on my end, no one from this office has contacted you this. So when you sent this in, you're like most veterans just wanting to make sure the funeral expense did not fall a burden on any of your loved ones, correct? Then you just like when on those type of objections, you give them their rebuttal and then you instantly try to throw them back on track. Um, I'm not interested, which I always say this, that is my favorite objection. So whenever I feel like or I know they're going to tell me I'm not interested, I immediately cut them off. I don't even let them finish that I'm not interested. I just instantly hit them with, I mean, sir, what are you not interested in? Like I haven't even offered you anything. I haven't told you anything. You don't even know what this is about, sir. Um, and then after you get them on the hook, you'd be like, this is about that request you sent in to make sure the funeral expense and, all that stuff doesn't fall a burden on your family or they don't have to go into any financial stress. Now, I mean, Josh, do you already have that taken care of or are you still looking into that? If you already have that taken care of, perfect. You go back to the other objection, you read that. If they're looking into it, then you got them right there. But other than that, I really don't get any of the other objections. Maybe like the VA will take care of it. I know a lot of people get that. You just simply hit them with yes, sir. I mean, the VA is going to take care of that headstone and the plot for you. But I mean, the other $10,000 to $15,000 is left for the family to cover. Now, is your wife in a financial position to take on a $10,000 to $15,000 burden, or is that's the reason you were looking to get this covered today? Correct. Perfect. And then obviously you move past that. Um, but other than that, those are pretty much all the objections I get the most. And then obviously later on in the call, when I open up to questions, you guys can ask me more objections that you guys are getting in the intro. Um, Again, when it comes to digging into the why or building the why, I do it a lot different than other people do it. Um, so obviously I'm doing this part right here, but I'm trying to get the name of the beneficiary and what they're actually wanting as quick as I can so I can move past it. I don't want to hold them off too much time because, some people get a little upset when you start asking all these personal things and whatnot. Um, so after I get past the intro, I'll be like, so I mean, Josh, God forbid, if you were to pass away, sir, who's responsible to pay for that funeral expense and obviously pick up the pieces tomorrow? The wife. Perfect. Now, Josh, would you say your wife, Mary, is in a financial position currently if something happened to you to take care of a funeral expense? Or is that where where like most veterans just trying to get this covered? No, obviously she wouldn't be able to take care of that. That's why I'm looking to get it covered. Perfect. Now, I should have asked him, obviously, I know this is something we put much thought into, but are you looking to be buried or just cremated? They give you whatever answer, cremation, perfect. You tell them the price with which one, and then and this is where I hit him with it. I mean, as of right now, Josh, do you currently have any type of like life insurance or anything that acts as life insurance or savings or anything like that that's going to help cover, most of the funeral expense or at least some of it? Um, no, I don't have anything in place. Perfect. And then you hit him with it. Okay. So Josh, it kind of sounds like, your main goal today was obviously to make sure Mary doesn't go into any financial stress or any financial debt, trying to cover the funeral expense, correct? And the reason you guys keep hearing me like bring up the same thing over and over, any financial stress, because I'm putting that idea in his mind that like if I die, my wife is gonna have financial stress or like our financial stress or financial debt and all that stuff. I'm gonna just keep putting that idea in his mind. So I don't have like I'm not getting any other objections later on because I built the why into him like from the jump. Um, and obviously I go here. So I mean at this point, Josh, what we do is spend a quick 20 seconds on yourself and your financial situation, just to make sure everything we look at is completely affordable and within your budget. Now, typically that's never the problem since this program is specifically made for veterans who are on a fixed income like Social Security and disability. Um, Obviously, if you're new, you want to stick as much to the script as possible, but I just like we're used to this. And then I just so then we'll spend another quick 20 seconds on your health, just navigate the available carriers and which one would more than likely give you that approval today. Um, Now the income is a big part, and it's why a lot of people just sell like the 50 to 60, like the 80, the 100 and the $120 policies is because none of you guys dig into how much money they're making. Like if you ask someone, all right, perfect. You ask, are you currently retired, disabled, and or maybe you're still working, retired, perfect. Now, Josh, with you being retired, how much would you say you bring in per month? The first number he's going to throw at you is your social security number, which 9 out of 10 times is always their lowest amount. 1,200, 1,500, 1,800, whatever it is. It's always the lowest amount of money. And then most of you guys just take that and run with it, and later on get an objection on the prize because you're not really breaking down how much income they're actually bringing. Most of these people have a VA compensation, they're disabled, they're getting some other type of money on the side. So whenever they tell me like 1,200, 1,500, whatever they tell me that's like under 2,000, I'll be like, okay. And then Josh, that's just for Social Security, correct? Yeah, okay. And then you do receive like a VA compensation and disability as well, correct? Yes, perfect. And how much are you bringing in per month with that? 2,800. And now you have their actual income, which is whatever was 1,500 plus 2,800. Now you have their actual income. So obviously after you get the actual income, I'll go straight into the discount. I don't ask the bank one first because again, like I feel like it just hits him like straight too personal after you just ask him how much money they make. So I just ask him, are you a smoker or non-smoker? Non-smoker, perfect. I am able to apply that discount for you. Now, are you banking locally or do you use like a military branch credit union? Wells Fargo, perfect. And then you did open that in the state of Wisconsin, correct? The only reason I asked that, sir, is because
This wall, I was like,
so mute up.
damn. Wait, dude. Did you say my name?
Yeah, mute up.
Bro,
And then after I get the bank, obviously I tell them perfect. The only reason I asked that, sir, is because you probably know this by now, but most carriers only accept direct deposit as a payment type. And then we also are able to apply that 20% state discount for you as well. And then get past that, and then obviously you're going to hit the health questions. Most people don't like to spend too much time on this, and I don't know why, because then later on you're asking everyone else around you, yo, this guy has this, that, and the third. What do I even write him? So you want to make sure you actually know what they have, so you know what carrier to run them off rip. So simple. For all your medical needs, you go to the VA or the civilian doctor. VA, perfect. Now, I'm assuming all your prescriptions are coming through the VA, or are they coming out from like an outside sector, like a private doctor, anything like that? VA, perfect. Now, in the last 5 years, have you had any heart attacks? Just literally read all these questions to the T, because you will know exactly what they have. Obviously, some people are going to lie to you, this, that, and the third. There are certain things on here that you can throw at them, obviously, to like antagonize them. Like, for example, the kidney or liver problems. If they tell you they have some type of kidney problem or kidney disorder, and then you ask them, okay, are you on dialysis? And until you know, and be like, perfect, thank God, because if you were, man, it would be pretty hard to get you approved for something like this. Just making sure that they know that they have to get approved for it. But other than that, like the health questions are pretty simple. There's no reason people shouldn't be asking health questions. That's our job as medical underwriters at the end of the day, to figure out what's wrong with them and what care is going to take them. Now, this is where I personally switched up my script. And then this is where I just go about it now. I hit them with it now. Before we do go over the packages here, I am just going to explain how the process works. Now, you probably know this by now, Josh, but since COVID, the carrier is no longer required to do any in-person physicals or any in-person blood work. They'll just simply look at your medical information bureau. It's just your MIB report. It's just a collection of your medical records and prescriptions over the last few years, which all that information is tied to your social there. Does that make sense? Like right then and there, eliminating the social objection. You'd be surprised, like 7 out of 10 times people are trying to give me their social right then and there. But if you use this, or if you stick to the normal script, whatever, if you use this, never take the social if they're trying to give it to you right here. Like never do it. To be like, no, sir, we don't quite need it yet. We haven't started the application. Because if you take their social here, you're just gonna mess up the rest of the rest of the cell or the call. So you just hit them with the no, sir, we don't quite need it yet. Obviously, we got to go through the packages and then obviously start an application before we can get into that sensitive information. Obviously, with the credentials, it's pretty simple. Do you receive text messages on this phone? Perfect. There's a protocol here in the state. I just have to send over a copy of my Department of Insurance credentials so you can have it for your records. You want to keep this as simple as possible. You don't want to waste too much time on this. Just tell them you're going to send them credentials. It's going to have your first and last name and your NPN. It's just like an employee social security number. Obviously, once you get into the benefits, you want to make sure that they're grabbing a pen and paper. If they're not grabbing a pen and paper, this really doesn't matter to them. They're just going to waste your time. You want them to write this down so they know exactly what they're getting. And at the end of the day, if they don't know it's insurance by now, they will know it's insurance after you tell them there's benefits. Um, like, perfect, sir. The first one I want you to write down is immediate coverage. Just simply means whenever you make that first premium, you are covered day one. So there's no 2-year wait period or anything like that with those other C-rated carriers. Now, the second one, and again, this is where you can use, some other things to your advantage within the script. For example, like if you know like how much you're about to quote this person based on how much they're making and how much you're left over with, you ask them. So the second one is locked in. So that just simply means, if I were to give you a price of $450 today, that's never going to increase. If we were to able to get you, $50,000 in coverage today, that's never going to decrease. The third one is going to be tax-free. Simply means death benefit, living benefit, and cash value, tax-free. And then obviously you just go with the rest of them. You just explain them. You don't want to miss out on anything. You want to make sure they're understanding the benefits. And again, this is when I really like to build my why mainly. It's in the quoting. So before we go over any packages here, Josh, you did mention to me earlier that you were looking to leave some extra money behind, correct? Perfect. Now, were you like most veterans who are just wanting to leave extra money behind to cover a mortgage? Do you have any debts, or do you have any car notes you're trying to pay off? Any home repairs that you recently got done? Yeah, man, I have a mortgage. Perfect, sir. And obviously, you're just trying to make sure that the wife can be able to pay the mortgage and not lose the home, correct? Again, you're starting to build the why again. Now you're not building the why on the funeral expense. Now you're building the why on the mortgage. Obviously, you don't want the wife to lose the home because she can't afford to pay the mortgage, correct? Yeah, absolutely perfect. And like I said earlier, man, that is also one of the main reasons veterans do send in this request, just so they can make sure their assets are protected and the family doesn't lose them, God forbid, when they pass away. Now, Josh, let me ask you this, sir. How much is your monthly mortgage? $1,200. Perfect. All right, so you get $1,200, then you put it in your notes somewhere, and then you tell them, all right, sir, so the system is going to generate us 3 packages of coverage here, and obviously you are going to be able to decide on which one makes the most sense. Keep in mind, I am going to be trying to protect your mortgage for a little bit of time or some time, whatever you want to throw in there, so the wife has enough time to decide what she wants to do with the home or how she wants to proceed about that. At that point, you're telling them that you are also not trying to cover their funeral expense, but also trying to protect the mortgage. So when it comes to the bronze option, you want to cover at least most of their funeral expenses, not all of it, because that was the main goal at the end of the day, to cover their funeral expense, whether it be cremation or funeral expense. And then for the bronze option, you want to quote them 6 months of mortgage protection. So if it's like $1,200 a month, and then you obviously just do times 6, so you need to add them an extra $7,200 in coverage, and that's your bronze option. The way I go about that is, so Josh, the bronze option here for you, obviously this is going to cover the main funeral expense like the goal was earlier, but is also going to give your time 6 months to be able to pay that mortgage and obviously decide what she wants to do with the home there. And this is for $35,000 in natural guaranteed coverage, $70,000 accidental, and obviously tell them the price. And then for the silver option, again, you're covering the full funeral expense, but now you're covering the mortgage for 8 to 10 months. And then you just give them that number. And obviously the gold option is where you're covering the mortgage for at least 2 years, which is going to be like the highest of the highest is going to be the gold option. It's probably going to be really expensive because you're covering the full funeral expense, but you're also covering 2 years of their mortgage. And obviously once you give them the 3 options, I personally say, now Josh, giving you those 3 options out of the gold, the silver, and the bronze, which one is going to make the most sense for you and make sure that your wife, Miss Mary, doesn't fall a burden on anything. Obviously, whatever option they give you, gold, silver, bronze. Now, if they give you an objection or if it's too expensive or whatever, you'd be like, like say they say it's too expensive, be like, perfect, Josh. Like I told you earlier, man, this is completely customizable to you. So what I would do here is I'll look down in coverage a little bit and just try to make sure we can cover at least the full funeral expense. And then obviously give them the option and the price. Most of the times that will solve your issue, and then they'll choose the option and move past. If they don't know what option to go with, like you guys heard this 1,000 times. I mean, sir, I'm just gonna make you a professional. You're not even gonna ask him, do you mind if I make you a recommendation? You're gonna tell him, sir, I'm just gonna make you a recommendation here. We're gonna go ahead and go with that bronze option just to make sure you can get your foot in the door and something in place, just in case, God forbid, anything happens to you. Miss Mary is still protected at the end of the day. If they need to talk to the wife, like you just got to check him right then and there. I mean, Josh, there's literally nothing for you to talk to your wife about, sir. I mean, we don't even know if you're approved for something like this. I mean, yeah, obviously, she has to know what's going on. She is the beneficiary. And obviously, once you get approved, you can show her all the paperwork in the mail and show her what you exactly done for her. Because, if it was my wife, I'd rather them receive a check when I pass than, a burden. And then obviously that should get you past that objection. And then if they say, can you send it in the mail? And be like, yes, sir. Like I told you earlier, you are going to be receiving paperwork in the mail once do get something submitted for you and get you approved. Typically takes 7 to 12 business days to arrive. And then you breeze past that. Now, starting the application is pretty basic. Just tell them now what we're going to do here is send in the request for the coverage and make sure we can get you that approval. So at this point, I'm just going to be confirming some basic information with you, like the spelling of your first and last name, and go over some similar medical questions that I know the answers to, but I do have to ask for care record and state law. Then we're going to make sure that, we did list the correct beneficiary and obviously confirm the spelling and age. And then a few more things to confirm, and we're going to add a valid payment method on file there at the end. Does that make sense, Josh? Perfect. Obviously, you go through all this, you confirm everything. The mailing address, I like to say, perfect. And that is where we're going to be mailing out all the paperwork to. And then, man, you can't miss it. It's like the size of a yearbook. And that always makes them like laugh or something. And then for the social, obviously you ask them what state they were born in, city. Okay, so obviously you being born in, Wisconsin and serving in the U.S. military makes you a U.S. validated citizen, correct? Perfect. Yeah. Yeah, it would be the first if you weren't, man. Now for that MIB report, your social, and then again, you bring back from the top, but I switched it up because I mentioned the MIB report up here. I told him we were going to need a social to go through his MIB report. So you shouldn't really be getting a social objection right here. Now, if they do give you a social objection, the first one you want to hit them with just has to be very simple. You don't want to do too much. You just want to hit them with, yes, sir. Like I told you earlier, that's just for your medical background check. Now go ahead with your social. If they're still not giving it to you, just hit them with, yeah, I mean, I completely understand that, sir. Now, most importantly, the only thing for them to pay out your loved ones is your social, which is going to be on that death certificate there. Does that make sense? Now, go ahead with your social. And then if they're still not giving it, obviously, you have the option where you can send them a picture, you can FaceTime them. But me personally, I just push them until they literally hang up on me. Like, I'll just keep throwing anything at them. Like, sir, you told me you have no coverage in place for your wife. I mean, what would it look like on Miss Mary? God forbid anything happened to you tomorrow. And the only reason you didn't have coverage in place is because you didn't trust me enough to give me your social. You want to make him feel bad. You want to make him rethink things. Like, just everything to your advantage. Obviously, once you get the social, another thing I see is a lot of people, they just don't even spend time on this. And then they're always crying about how I'm getting bank objections, this and that. I got another bank objection. Like the reason you're getting a bank objection is because you get the social and you're straight to the bank because you think that's how it works, which it doesn't. That's why all this stuff is on the script. Now, we're able to validate that identity here. So I'm just going to confirm a few more medical questions here. Like I told you, for the sake of the application. Now, obviously, you just go through these real quick. I don't use all of them. The only one I use is the first one, the second one, the fourth one, the sixth one, the ninth one, and then the 10th one. And for the 10th one, I throw something extra on the side just to build a little more rapport. Ask him. And lastly, Josh, I mean, you don't plan on going, skydiving, bungee jumping, or rock climbing anytime soon, right? Yeah, obviously not perfect. And then I'm just making sure, but do you have any crazy exotic pets like tigers, venomous snakes, spiders, frogs, anything crazy that might crawl in your bed while you're sleeping? Just literally something to throw at them and make him laugh and build more rapport. Um, Now, coming into the beneficiary, obviously you want to make sure the spelling of their first and last name is correct. Obviously, make sure that they are going to be receiving 100% of the death benefit. And then obviously asking, God forbid, Josh, something happened to Miss Mary. Would you want to add any of your family members as a backup or like a contingent beneficiary? And then they give you a name, number, whoever, like they don't, whatever, then you move past it. And obviously, after you do that, don't go straight to the bank. Like you still have more things on here that you can talk to them about and build more rapport. Oh, how long you and Miss Mary, been married for? 40 years. Oh wow, man, that's amazing. Do you got any tips for me? Just let them yap about their marriage and how good it is or whatever. Like perfect, man. Hey, well, I'm gonna take that into my man because I've been sleeping on the couch a lot. Or say something on there that's gonna make them laugh and build more rapport with them. Obviously, ask them about their kids, how they're doing, and then never want to skip this question because this is gonna solidify right here if you're gonna get the close or not. This is him telling you his why all over again. And if they can't tell you their why all over again, you're like gonna get a bank objection. It's that simple. You're just gonna ask. I mean, Josh, I know you told me earlier and we went over it, but if you don't mind me asking here again, what really kind of had you thinking about getting something like this in place for Miss Mary and your family? Just let them talk. Like they're 9 out of 10 times they're just gonna tell you, yeah, I don't want my wife to fall into a burden and like this and that and the third. And just let them talk as long as they can. Obviously, don't let them talk too much, and then throw them right back on track. Be like, hey, Josh, the last part here is simply the state anti-money laundering verification portion. Now, most veterans do like to start their policy to begin when they receive their benefits. Now, is that the first, third, or like the second, third, fourth Wednesday of the month for you? Then obviously you get what day it is. All right. Now, Josh, is your name spelled the exact same way with that Wells Fargo, or do you happen to use a middle initial with them at all? Like they don't use a middle, they do, whatever. Perfect. And like I told you earlier, man, we're already partnered with them here. So just to confirm, you did open that in Wisconsin, correct? Perfect. Yep. Now, 9 out of 10 times, since we're already in our partner with them in the state system, the routing number that they automate for us is going to be correct. I have it starting as 2560. Go ahead and go grab your checkbook to confirm with me. Never ask him, can you, will you, like all that stuff. Like you're telling him to go get the checkbook. Go get your checkbook and confirm it with me. Don't give him an option. Like you're telling them what to do. So, hey, Josh, go grab your checkbook for me so we can confirm this. Obviously, you confirm it or whatever. They want to give you a bank objection. Like everything's here. Yes, sir. I mean, Josh, like I told you earlier, we are going to need to add a valid payment method on file. This is simply just to make your payment, sir. Now go ahead with that account number. Still not giving it to you. I mean, I completely understand that, sir. Now, I mean, have you given or received a check in your lifetime? Yeah, I mean, that's how I personally pay my garden guy every week. I write him a check. But if you notice, sir, at the bottom of every checkbook is going to be a routing and account number because that information can't be used to go to Walmart or online and go on a shopping spree. The only thing I could do, man, is deposit you money. I mean, I'm sorry to break it to you, sir. I'm not rich enough to do that yet. Um, and then obviously say, now go ahead and confirm that account number for me, sir. They still don't want to give it, or I want something in writing first, or I just want an approval, whatever. They still don't want to give it. Yeah, I completely understand that, sir. So the carrier is required to validate that. Obviously, they're insured and the payer of the policy are the same person before anything is submitted. This is just for your safety and safety of others. Obviously, we don't want any crazy person trying to take out a policy on you and, try to hurt you or something like that. And then for me, that's personally the last one I'll tell them. And then I just get straight checking them. Like, Josh, if I was here to do any harm to you, man, I would have took your social and just hung up on you 20 minutes ago. But that's not what my job here is. My job here is simply to help you and make sure that your family's protected. I mean, if I was to do anything, sir, you could send me to jail for 15 to 20 years. I personally don't want to go to jail, and I no nobody wants to go to jail. And now this is the only piece of information that we need to make sure we can complete the application for you. Um, Obviously, if they still are not giving it, you could have the FaceTime method, the sending them a picture of the application and whatnot. But going back up here, let's say they genuinely don't have like a checkbook or anything to confirm. They can't use their mobile banking app or whatever. Obviously, before you even try to ask for a debit card or anything like that, you want to ask them, okay, now you do you receive your bank statements in the mail or email? They don't receive those. Perfect. Now you do have the mobile banking app on your phone, right? Yes. All right. So if they have it, you can literally go on Google and like type how to navigate Wells Fargo mobile banking app to find routing and account number. It'll literally give you step by step on how to do it so you can guide them. But some of these people are older, they're really not good with technology. They're not going to be able to figure it out. If they can't figure it out, be like, no worries, Josh. So what I'll do for you today is I'll just do you a favor. We're just gonna add a debit card on file. And obviously we are gonna have to update that later. Now, is that going to be a Visa or MasterCard? MasterCard, perfect. Now, is your name spelled the exact same way on that card as well? And did you also include that middle initial with them in there? Okay, perfect. Now, another thing that you can use to your advantage to build more rapport is if it's a Visa, it's going to be starting in 42, 43, whatever, 44. You can throw one of those numbers at him because his card's always going to start with the 4. If it's a MasterCard, it's going to start with the 5. You can throw like, it'd be like, no, your card should start in like 5-1, 5-2, or 5-3, or 5-4, correct? Like just give him some options. And you'll be like, oh yeah, it starts in 5-2. Perfect. Go ahead and confirm the rest of that for me. It just helps you build a little more rapport. Like, yeah, maybe he already has that on his end. I just got to confirm it. Um, but I mean, other than that, that's pretty much how you kill zombies right there. I'm gonna open up to some questions and then just let me know what I gotta say.
Yo, Eric,
Yo,
bro. So you smack a lot of big policies, um, but I noticed you still sell the smaller ones. Now, for you, are you still putting the client in the best spot possible? Would you say with the big premium or the small premium, like that's still like your main objective is always putting them in the best spot possible still?
yeah, like
Based on
obviously
their
if I'm
budget.
selling, yeah, like if I'm selling them like a $70 policy, like I mean that's just what they need. Like I can't really
Yeah.
like upsell them or like give them the better policy because it's like genuinely what they need. And usually my like small policies is them already having coverage and me just helping them factor for inflation in the future and all that stuff.
Okay, so you're saying like you're not going to sit there and try and push them to get more or pay more or whatever. Like you're just going to put them in the best spot and tell them have a nice
Yeah,
day.
if I'm selling like a $70 policy or whatever it is, like a small policy, like I've acknowledged that that's just simply what they need, and I'm just gonna go along with it. I mean, $70 is still like 800, $900, but I'm not complaining. So simply what the client needs and I'm just gonna give the client.
I appreciate it, bro. Thanks.
Sure.
Shit, Eric.
Uh,
The-
someone
Eric,
said,
my guy.
yo,
Yo, bro. So honestly, I've been getting a lot of like I just been using if we are able to get you qualified for this, this will be $100 a month with your veterans discount. And they'll pick an option, they'll go through it, we'll go through it, whatever. And then they'll just like at the end, they'll give me the social, whatever. And then at the end they'll be like, I want the approval first. Like because I'm embedding it in their head so much that like, sir, if we get you qualified, then this will happen. So like how would you kind of play that or like say whenever I am quoting, should I just like stop saying if we get you qualified? Like what do you think about that?
yeah, I got it. Like you're really just shooting yourself when you're telling them if I get you qualified, because then you're just putting doubt in their mind that like, dang, am I even gonna get qualified for this? So that's why I
Mm.
personally don't like to say that too much. I just be like, now once we get you that approval for this coverage, it would be $70. Something I used to do back then, whenever I like had this other script, is whenever I got into the application, um, and then wherever like on the where it says perfect, now we send a request for coverage and hope to get to that approval. I sometimes don't like to say that because I like again, I just put it in the mind like, dang, am I even going to get approved? So if I do accidentally say that and like slip up and say that, and I just rebuttal quick and be like, which that is my main job here is obviously to get you fully approved. And from what I've seen so far, there should have been no problems getting you approved today. Just want to
Okay.
make sure,
Bet.
like, reassure
So
them,
kind
like,
of, yeah. So kind of like embedding in their brain instead of like if we get you approved, it's like when we get you approved type.
yeah,
Like,
yeah, when you get you
okay.
approved, like you will get approved.
Okay, yeah, because I don't know, bro. I just kind of thought like psychologically, like if you kind of like tell them, it'll be harder, then they would kind of want it more. But I mean, I guess it's the total opposite. But appreciate you, my guy.
Sure. And someone asked, tonality wise, do you keep monotone through the whole script, or are there times where you switch? Like yeah, like pretty much how I read the whole script the whole time, like this whole time is how I'm talking to them. Unless like if I have to be like sympathetic about something, like they're talking about someone in their family die, like obviously I'm gonna switch my tone up, be like, oh yeah, I'm sorry to hear that, man. I'm glad you're doing well though. Like there's certain times where like, and obviously you realize when to switch it up, but like most of the time I'm like completely monotone. I sound like I work at the DMV, like I hate my job, like I don't want to be here.
Yeah, I have a question, Eric. So you mentioned like right before presenting, you're asking more of those why factor questions outside of just funeral expense. Is there any other time in the script that you're asking those why factor questions? Again, just outside of just the funeral expense.
Yeah, so obviously at the beginning of the script, if they tell me their funeral expenses are covered, they already have money to the side, I'll pivot to, okay, so you do have a mortgage, correct? Yes, perfect. Or like, I'm assuming you have a mortgage, correct? You're just looking to cover that mortgage. That's the reason you sent in this request. Or like, if they're giving you any objections at the beginning of the script where they already have everything covered, just like use anything. Like, I mean, sir, do you have a mortgage that you were looking to cover? Do you have any debts or any financial stress that you're trying to make sure the family doesn't fall a burden upon? Or, I mean, did you like recently do? I'm not gonna lie, like recently, the one that's been hitting the most is like they've been like remodeling their houses a lot. I don't know if you guys know this, but half the time they take out loans to do that shit. So you can hit them with that. I mean, did you recently do any home renovations? Um, Obviously, you have some debt with that, correct? Yeah, it's like $40,000. Perfect. You can go through the script and break everything down for them.
Got you. I like that. And then what if they're saying, yeah, I want to cover my funeral expenses? Because obviously in the script it just says now were you also looking to try to leave something extra behind? So let's say they're wanting to leave something for the funeral expense. So then at that point, outside of just the presentation, right before the presentation, when are you asking those why questions?
Hold on. Run that back for me. I didn't really understand
So
that.
so at the beginning of the call, they pick up and
Mm.
they don't have anything in place for their funeral expenses and they're wanting to get something in place. And so you're going through it and normally from what I'm hearing, like while you're presenting, right before you give them the numbers, you're like, now, were you just looking to cover these funeral expenses here? Or were you looking to potentially protect a mortgage or, smaller debts or anything like that? And so my question is, are you asking those questions anywhere else in the script if they do
Yeah,
want funeral expenses? Or is it just before you're presenting those numbers?
no, like, is it if they tell me at the beginning of the call they're just looking to cover their funeral expense, I'm just going to cover their funeral expense. But if you
Okay.
can see my screen in my script, like right here, it says now, were you just looking to make sure that funeral expenses don't fall a burden on your loved ones? Got it. Now, were you also looking to try and leave something extra behind as well, if possible? Now, obviously,
Mm-hmm.
once they're wanting to leave something extra behind as well, it's for a reason. They either just want to like leave something extra behind for the family, or they have other debts and stuff they're trying to cover. And
Okay.
that's why when I get that, like whenever I come into the quoting, I'll be like, and you did mention to me earlier that you were also looking to leave some extra money behind, correct, Josh? Now, was that simply just to leave to the family so they can survive on? Or were you just looking to cover a mortgage? Do you have any credit card debts or like any home renovations you did recently? You're trying to make sure that, the family doesn't fall a burden on. And again, that's when you tie it all back together.
Okay, that makes a lot more sense. I appreciate it.
Sure. When someone says I'm not a veteran, what's the best way to respond to that, especially after mentioning veterans a few times in intro? Um, honestly, I don't get that a lot, but I think I got it a couple of times. The way I go about that is like, yeah. So I mean, luckily for you, man, you don't have to be a veteran to qualify for this. There are still a couple more discounts that we can get you qualified for, which is just going to be the same too. Are you a smoker with the bank and whatnot? Um, and obviously just raise that. Just tell them that they still can get discounts. Any
Okay.
other questions?
Yeah. So, Eric, how would you go about, say they already have some coverage in place, and then you ask them if they wanted to leave a little bit extra? They say yes. But how do you get them from like just turning it back, be like, I'm good on the coverage that I have already?
Because like I said, even when they have coverage in place and like they're telling me that they want more coverage, like I'm not gonna move with the conversation to even try to get in more coverage until I break down their coverage, know exactly what type of coverage it is, know exactly how much they're paying. And obviously, if I can't save them money on that coverage, I'm gonna get to spending their coverage. They have $15,000 in place already. I'm like, okay, so you right now, sir, you have $15,000 in coverage in place. Now, anything could happen where it might cause, your family to have to use $5,000 of that for any type of emergency or any, you have any surprise deaths when you pass away. Now you only have $10,000 to cover the funeral expense. I mean, $10,000 would have covered a funeral expense 10 to 15 years ago. I mean, now, sir, the funeral expenses are going for $15,000 to $20,000. So you were just trying to make sure that you're able to get an extra $5,000 to $10,000 in coverage, just to make sure you can factor for inflation in the future, and obviously make sure everything is well covered. Correct? You got him.
I got a question for you.
Go ahead, bro.
What's the easiest way you fight like combativeness in the beginning of the call? Like they pick up the phone like super aggressive. Like what's the easiest way you find to calm them down?
Like, I mean, sir, why are you yelling at me, sir? This is my first time calling you, sir. You don't like if you yell back at them, like you're just like putting fire on fire. Like you just gotta sound monotone, calm, like you're just doing your job. Like, I mean, Nash, why are you yelling at me, bro? Like, I'm just simply here to help you and your family today. Make them feel bad that they're yelling at you.
I appreciate it.
I got a
My
question.
bad. Phone
Oh,
died.
go ahead.
Did you say that on the recording so I can look back at it?
Yeah, it's gonna be on the recording.
Awesome, man. Thank you.
Gotcha, bro. Any other questions?
Yeah, I got one.
Yeah. Okay, you go first.
So say like when you're quoting big, is there a certain amount that you keep in mind that like you want to leave them left with? So if he has 5,000 left over at the end of the month, what would you typically quote?
You had 5,000 left over at the end of the month.
Yeah. Not like,
Um,
or just like as an example, because obviously you're not gonna be like, okay, 3,000, 4,500. Like you're gonna leave them a good amount.
shoot, you know me, bro. No, I'm trolling, but no, I would probably would be like my bronze option would be like 450, my silver option would be like 650, and like my gold option would be like 800, $900.
And do you just put that in the premium when you do that? For the premium
What?
amount? Like when you quote them on the quote, or do you just put 450 in the premium?
No, you just gotta do quick math, bro. You just gotta take like you gotta put however much coverage, like 50,000 is the highest coverage, and you gotta take the 3 carriers that you can run
Yeah,
them through. You add them up.
yeah. That's what I thought. I just want to hear how you do it.
Sure. Yo, Blake, what's your question?
Yeah, I was gonna ask you, Eric, what was your schedule looking like when you really started to see a change? Did you really just walk yourself away and just dial more? Or did you have like a set schedule that you stuck to every single day?
I would just get here at 9 a.m. and leave like at 11:30 p.m. every single day, bro.
All right.
Yes, sir. All right. Before we wrap it up, do we have any other questions?
Yeah,
Yo,
Eric.
Eric.
Yo,
So I've been struggling on the intro recently. What's the most crucial thing to get, you know, them wanting to tell you that information? Because I haven't been able to pull that out of anybody. They just don't want to talk.
what exactly are they not giving you?
Like I'm like, hey, and then I say their name. This is John with the Veterans Benefits Office. How are you doing today? And they're just like, they just don't want to talk. They either just instantly click or they'll just already have coverage, click, just basically just clicking on me.
I mean, there's not much you can do, bro, but just keep calling the next person until you find the person that actually wants coverage.
Okay.
Can't really do much about someone hanging up on you, but call the next person
I call him back.
or call him back. You hear Spank? He calls him back and he checks him.
Hey, sir, this is Elias with the Veterans Benefits Office. I was calling in regards to that request that you submitted, and then I just keep going. I called the lady just 2 days ago like that. She's like, "Stop calling me." Click. I called her back. I was like, "Ma'am, this is Elias with the Veterans Benefits Office. Are you doing okay, ma'am?"
And
And
then
she's like,
someone did
"Oh my
ask me
God, I'm
for
so sorry."
someone asked me for the script I use. I'm about to send it in the chat real quick. Give me 1 second.
Yo, Eric, I got one for you real quick.
Go ahead, brother.
So I know Joey touched on this on Wednesday about tying it down, but at the end of the call, once you've got the banking, you've already closed them. Is there something that you say, or like how do you word it at the end to make sure that they understand they're going to be paying the insurance just to get them to stick?
So like after you fully close them,
Yeah.
yeah, just go over everything, explain to them exactly what you guys did. Obviously tell them exactly how much they're going to be paying a month, and obviously when their policy packet's going to arrive, make sure they have like your personal cell phone number, credentials, and everything like that. In case they need anything, they could reach out to you. Obviously thank him for allowing you to serve him. Obviously, just finish off just finish your job, just do everything right. Like tell them thank you for your service, sir. I truly appreciate the chance to serve you today. Like always, if you have any questions, don't feel free to reach out to me anytime. You have my work number and my cell phone number, so I'll always be able to answer your calls. Just want to make it feel like you're there for them always. Any other questions? I think the thing should be good now. I changed the access for it. I'll make it editor with the link so you guys can make your own copy and whatnot.
Do actually have one more question. I really struggle with like trying to um I feel like sometimes I'm trying to be too personal with the client and like it gets me really off track in the conversation. And every time I try and get him back into the script, I feel like it is what makes me sound salesy or makes me sound like I'm trying to sell them something. So like how do you transition it without sounding rude or being like, okay, I don't care what you're talking about right now. Like, let's get this over with.
All
Because
right,
like
so
I found my conversations lasting like damn near 2 hours, honestly, like hour and a half.
and then that's also a problem right there. If you're new, you never want to sell off emotion or connection with the client, because at the end of the day, they're gonna buy from you just because they like you, and then later on realize that it's not something they want or they want to keep paying on, and they're just gonna cancel it and charge back on you. So you want to make sure that you're actually selling off the why and not off your connection and emotion with the client.
I appreciate it.
Sure. All right. It's 10 a.m. On a Friday, so let's run it up. If you have any questions, I'm always in the Discord. You can ping me in the Discord, and I'll answer your messages. But other than that, you have a great day, and see you on the phones.
Thank you,
Let's
Eric.
go. Thank you, Eric.
Let's go.